Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to show you how I created snake eyes in timber from G.I. Joe. So this is a design from Meg's Empanado. You can find him on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not sure if he has a Patreon or not. This is a sweet design that he did, and to my knowledge he's also making a storm shadow to go along with it, and also maybe a couple other Joes as well. So I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan, and I printed this in a 1/6 scale. So a couple things in this video. The suit he has is mainly black, and I show you the different shades of black that I use on there. And also I do some chroming on here, and I'll show you how to do that as well. All right, so let's check out the build. All right, so here we have Snake Eyes. He's been primered black, and I've actually went back and painted him all black. But I'm actually going to do some tinting and shading on him, because to leave him like this will just be kind of dull and boring. There'll be no contrast at all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use certain blacks or shades of black, like this black gray right here, to bring out some contrast and bring out some depth and stuff like that into the black. So let's get on with it. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the insignias here on the shoulder pads and on the belt, and I'm going to use a flat red from Tamiya. So this color here I only bring out whenever I'm using different shades of black, because this is blacker than black. This is a Wicked Jet Black from Createx, and I don't use this color very often. I don't use Createx colors very much anymore, but this right here is a very, very deep black, and it's going to look really, really good on the face mask. I'll also paint the mesh part of the suit right here that same color. All right, so pretty much any part that has this mesh on here, I'm going to go ahead and paint this deep black. I've already started on the wrist guards, finished this up here, and the part of the helmet, and there are some parts on the back that I'll do as well. That way, this breaks up a lot of the monotony in the whole entire black scheme, brings out a little bit of contrast, and makes this whole thing just kind of pop. And you'll see once it's totally done the effect that it has on it. That's For the sake of time on timber, what I did was I went ahead and I primered it and painted it a light gray color from Vallejo. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go in and put a black wash all over it. And then we're going to do some dry brushing on top. All right, so now that I have the gray on and the black wash on, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start dry brushing with a neutral gray. I'm going to do the whole entire wolf. So once the wolf is all dry brushed in the gray, I'm going to go and start doing some highlights on the fur, adding a little white, a little beige and brown, and breaking up some of this gray and blackish color. I want it to have a little bit of color mixture, a little bit of pop to it, because a lot of this statue is black and gray, so I want a little bit of color to mix up with it. All right, so now that we got the white on there, it's time to go in with a little bit of beige. All right, so now that the beige is on there, without cleaning my airbrush, I'm going to put on some of this beastly brown. This is a really kind of a medium tone brown that I'll be using for some highlights, and it's just going to be in selective areas only. So you can get carried away with the brown a little bit if you're not careful, but what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some black into certain parts of the highlights. Like we're going to do the eyes, we're going to do the nose, and underneath the undercut, and then in certain spots on the back. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to take more like a brighter white, and then I'm going to do some speckling on the fur, on the tips of the fur, to bring that color back out and kind of balance it out. And we're going to have a little bit of a black top like a wolf would, and it's going to be a little bit lighter underneath, and it's just going to really draw you in once the colors are all blended together. But alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to feather out some of the hair up here at the top with a little bit of dry brushing with a flat brush. Alright, so I'm going to finish up the teeth and the inside of the mouth and do the eyes here. I have to have to get up pretty close to it. I can't do this on camera, so give me just a minute and I'm going to come back to you and explain to you what I did, and we're going to wrap this wolf up here. Alright everybody, so Timber is now officially done. The eyes I painted yellow, a moon yellow, and did the black inlays. And I mixed up my own dark red, white, and brown for the inner mouth. And of course the teeth are a bone white. But I think it turned out pretty decent. And ready to move on to the base. I'm going to seal this first, gloss the eyes and the nose and the paws. And then I'm going to move on to the base. So apparently I had deleted some of the footage, I guess, of me painting the snow caps on here. So what I did was I primered the base. The base is made out of FDM, except for the tree trunk and this side over here, which is made out of resin. The rest of it is FDM. So primered it, smoothed it, painted it gray, and then I painted the snow caps on here. Now I did this for a reason. I'll show you up in a minute. but I just kind of slapped that on there. You basically use it as a marker because I'm actually going to put a snow terrain on this. Yep, I'm going to paint a snow terrain on here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with the gray, the rock part, and I'm going to put a black wash over that, and then I'm going to saturate that with the wash, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do some detail work in on it. So now I'm going to go in and start dry brushing the base, the rock part. I'm going to be using a combination of neutral gray, light gray, and a sky gray. I'm going to work from dark to light, and then we're going to airbrush some of the highlights into the rock base, and then we're going to start adding the snow terrain on top of this, and the base will probably just be about done. So what I'm doing right here with this neutral gray is I'm going in and softening up some of these darker parts. And then what I'll do is I'll go in with a lighter gray, this light gray, and then I'll hit some of the accent points and some of the other areas, the undercuts a little bit, and bring some of that out. And then I'll use the sky gray here, and then this will be used to go on some of the tips of the rocks where the light would hit and really just kind of accent those areas and make them really pop and come out. Okay, so we got the base finished, dry brushed, and sealed. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use this snow terrain from AK Industries, and I'm going to just apply it. It goes on just pretty much just like paint. I think basically it's real thick type stuff. You can thin it out with water or thinner, but it just basically goes up onto the snow caps. And this model will be done. We'll put it all together, and then you'll be able to see everything in its entirety. So yeah, this stuff is kind of thick. Looks like thick, goopy paint almost. Looks like it's got some type of additive in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply it like it says. So this model actually has a Cobra Commander helmet that's severely damaged, and it actually incorporates into the base. You'll see it where it just kind of sits there. So what I'm going to be ready to do now is I'm getting ready to paint it, the mirror part here, with this Vallejo Mecha Color dark steel. And for the helmet, I'm actually going to use a gunmetal blue. So it does give it a good shimmer. It's not too dark, not too light. I think it closely represents what's in the comic book as well as the movies. And once this dries, we'll mask that off, and then we'll paint the top of the helmet the gunmetal blue. So while we're waiting on that to dry, the next couple things that I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these smaller pieces. This is the blade to the katana, and over here you'll see the scabbard that goes on his back, and then the pistol that goes on his hip. So those will just be painted black, and do a little bit of highlights on this. So what I'm going to do with this blade here, I really want to paint it a chrome color so it looks like a real blade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a gloss black finish over this, and then what I'm going to do, and I've used this before, is I'm going to take this liquid chrome, this Molotov, I think I'm pronouncing it right, liquid chrome. I'm going to open this pen up, and there's not much paint in here. These pens are like $11, $12. And I'm going to take some of this chrome out of here and I'm going to paint it over this blade. I did this on my blade statue that you've seen, the review that I did on, and it turned out wonderful. So we're going to do that, and we're going to get a mirror chrome finish on this katana right here. Okay, now, so when you finally get this open, this is not anything that you have to thin out. It goes straight into the airbrush. And then you're going to apply like a couple of light coats on it, and then you're going to go with it pretty heavy on the wet. And once we put this on the figure, I'll actually do the insignia in the red, and this will really, really look good. I'm actually starting to have second thoughts about doing the Cobra Commander face in this, and I'm thinking I already got a metallic on there, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to go ahead and do it. Why not? Let's just see what it looks like. Alright guys, so I did make a mistake. So I was not thinking when I put this chrome on here that I cannot tape this off to mask it to paint it. So I'm actually going to have to wing it when I airbrush it, either that or brush it by hand. I'm thinking I may just brush it by hand and take my chances and seeing how it turns out. If not, then I'll have to go back and just kind of wing it with airbrush. I mean, all right, so after much deliberation, I guess I am going to have to hand paint the gunmetal blue onto the helmet because I just can't tape it off with the chrome on there, and it's going to pull that paint up if I do. I did do a little test area right here, and it's actually not that bad. It's actually going to go on pretty decent. There are going to be some brush strokes on there, but hopefully I can cover some of that up a little bit. So as usual, everybody, if you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button for me and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. This was fun to do. I've always wanted some G.I. Joes in my collection, and I just really haven't found the designs that I was looking for until now. And so if you want any more pointers or discuss anything painting, building, printing, or whatever, don't forget to look at my Patreon. Get in there and join now. For a couple bucks a month, you can get on our Discord and discuss anything that you want to when it comes to statue printing, painting, or chroming or anything like that, we got some pretty cool people on there, and looking to build the Patreon as much as possible. Plus, it also helps support the channel. And another way of supporting the channel is my affiliate links below. They don't cost you a copper penny. If you're interested in some of the products that I use those links for me as well. Another way of supporting the channel. But the biggest way that you can support the channel is subscribe. Subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff right there, and it costs you absolutely nothing. So get in on it right now, and make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any future videos. So until the next video, everyone, don't forget to get out there and create something, and we will see you.